Hafa. Welcome to the second episode of Triton News TV. I'm your host, Sean Wago.
And I'm Rose Facello. In today's episode, we'll have a look at understanding the vaccine hesitancy on island. Next, we're featuring the new program designed to give free hotspot devices to students. Then we'll talk about how plastic foam ban may affect Guam businesses in the future. Lastly, find out how local Guam artists manage during a global pandemic.
Before we get into that, Public Health hopes to get a grant from the Center for Disease Control to improve monitoring of high-risk groups for death with the COVID-19. The COVID Disparities Grant will especially help Guamanians with diabetes. Chief Information Officer at Guam Public Health, Janela Carrera, says the grant will help find people at risk.
During the outreach, we'll have social workers and community health workers who will do some screening. And if there are those who are found to have like high blood pressure or high levels of A1C or anything that might indicate that they are at risk for diabetes, then we can do some referral services to public health and other types of organizations that can help them manage their diabetes.
Rose Bersman is one of the 12% of people on Guam living with type 2 diabetes. She's not sure about public health's ability to help.
I think there needs to be a greater outreach when it comes to the funding for diabetes.
Rose is waiting to see if the grant is approved, but she still has doubts about how effective it'll be due to her experience with previous public health outreaches.
I don't hear a lot of it. I don't. You see posters, you see everything. And it's hard for me because sometimes the insurance does not cover certain items, does not provide. So a lot of it just has to come from me wanting to, of how much information I can obtain for myself.
Community outreach is a valuable thing, especially when it concerns maintaining and controlling something as deadly as diabetes during COVID. But people like Rose may continue to struggle on their own until public health improves their outreach procedures.
The COVID vaccine is being distributed across the island. However, a portion of our population remains hesitant to receive the vaccine. King Guerrero speaks to the members of this population.
Grade schooler Peyton came home sick one March afternoon. Soon after, her mother, Emma Reyes, became sick too. The two were diagnosed with COVID-19. Fortunately, the worst of their symptoms were fevers and migraines which only lasted for a couple days. Emma, administrative assistant at Public Health, has not been interested in getting vaccinated since. Emma's reluctance is an example of vaccine hesitancy, which could slow Guam's progress of reaching herd immunity. Emma believes that the vaccine doesn't need to be taken if a person has no current health conditions that could increase the risk of death if infected with COVID.
As long as you don't have like the underlying conditions, or you don't have any, you think that you're healthy, you don't have problem with your health, then that's fine.
Ryan Shipman is another member of our community who is hesitant to receive the vaccine. He believed that others were more suitable for the vaccine due to his healthy condition.
It was save that vaccine for somebody who needs it, because even if I were to get COVID, I think that I would be okay about it. Like, I'm gonna get sick, but it's not going to be it's not gonna be deadly to me. At least that's what my hope would be.
This is the Hessler Building. Within it are public health employees working hard to bring herd immunity to Guam. Getting vaccinated isn't mandatory, but it's highly recommended. Janela Carrera, Public Information Officer of the Department of Public Health, understands that people have a choice to refrain from the vaccine, but she also knows how harmful COVID-19 can be to others.
And we've seen how much it's really affected people in our community. We've seen how much damage it's done to our loved ones, our friends, people that we know, people that we love, how many lives it's taken here in Guam and around the world.
Emma is not entirely against the vaccine. She says that if it was mandatory for travel, she would take the vaccine.
We live in the Philippines, so if they require that when you travel to Philippines that you need that vaccine, then we need to take. We don't have choice.
Emma's decision to refrain from the vaccine is hers to make. But a quick look at the damage COVID-19 has caused might be a good reminder of why getting the vaccine is a good idea. Kin Guerrero, TNT.
The vaccines have spawned various conversations, but Emma will continue to do what she believes is best for her family.
To help all students get stable internet access. That is the purpose of Guam Department of Education's collaboration with IT&E. TNT reporter Sienna Yanger tells us how the PATH program is connecting students with better Wi-Fi.
It's time for class and for students to log on to their lessons, but not everyone. Over the past year, many students on Guam find themselves unable to attend their classes due to poor Wi-Fi. For students like Pia Kapati, it's hard to get a good, stable internet connection.
Whenever I on my laptop, the Wi-Fi isn't connecting at all. So it would take me a while to get the Wi-Fi connected again. And then it would be like minutes before my class starts, so I would panic and end up using my data. And then I have 3 other cousins who live like right next door to me, who we share the Wi-Fi with. So the connection can be really slow or bad. And sometimes my teachers would even ask me to like repeat stuff because they can't really hear me.
To help out, IT&E and the Guam Department of Education has begun to distribute over 4,000 hotspot devices this week with the PATH program. The Guam Department of Education has made several efforts to help their students continue their education. One of these is providing reliable Wi-Fi. IT&E was happy to help. The number of devices a student can obtain from the program changes upon the size of the household. For IT&E CEO Jim Olerking, this is just one of the many ways IT&E is supporting the island during this time of crisis.
Well, we're very active with the multiple educational organizations here, as well as for remote medicine, homeland security, and all the different activities that are really surrounding the whole COVID-19 pandemic situation that's been created.
With this type of support, online education might become a growing option on Guam. Despite the current struggles, educators like Rojan Javanal think there's still much to be done before distance learning can really be viable.
I would not be surprised if within the next couple of years that we do integrate an actual online school for DOE. I will not be surprised. However, currently right now, I just think that DOE doesn't have the infrastructure yet to host it, but this PATH project was, I would say, the beginning stage of it.
For Pia, she's just happy there's support like the PATH program for students like her.
I think it would, I won't be late to classes anymore and the Wi-Fi won't go bad, or I'll be able to connect my laptop easier and without using my data or anything.
I'm Siani Anger for Triton News TV.
Thank you, Sienna. Interested students should contact their school for information regarding registration for the PATH program. Up next, find out what local food businesses think about the plastic foam ban.
Feel about everything that happened?
It's just so good. I love it. It makes me feel good about myself, and I feel great.
I just want you to know, if you need anything, don't be shy, okay? There are no rules in this house. I'm not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom. Right, Regina?
Please stop talking.
Okay. I'm gonna make you girls a hump day treat.
Welcome back to Triton News TV. The ban on plastic bags took place early this year, and plastic foam containers are next. TNT reporter Rose Facello explores what this ban means for the island and its local food businesses.
Hot meals, cheap prices, and short lines. These are just some of the benefits of the food truck culture here on Guam. But part of that culture is styrofoam packaging. Ray Chargaloff, owner of Fat Boy Slim, has been operating his food truck since 2018. As a takeout business, Chargaloff says that the ban on plastic foam containers will affect his operations.
We do have a little bit of mixed feelings because we do use the styrofoam only from a cost-benefit standpoint because, when we're looking at some of the biodegradable, or not even just the biodegradable, sometimes it's just the shape of the containers and what's available.
Fat Boy Slim is known for affordable takeout. For just $10, you're able to get a full meal. But for half of their customers, a plastic foam container is used, which the Guam Youth Congress believes can be a great concern for the island. In February, the Youth Congress introduced Bill 69 in the Guam legislature, which would ban plastic foam containers in an effort to reduce our waste. Representative Kiana Yabut explains why the island needs this ban.
Guam is one of the highest consumers of styrofoam per capita, right? You see it at rosaries, fiestas, parties, there's always styrofoam plates, cups, what be it, but styrofoam takes 500 years to biodegrade. And that's why it's taking up so much space in the landfill, is because it's not, like disintegrating into something like dirt or whatnot.
A report by the World Bank Group places Guam as the third highest waste contributor in the East Asia and Pacific region. While this bill would be a sustainable change for Guam, it may be costly for food establishments. Al Abang, Vice Speaker of the Guam Youth Congress, believes businesses will be able to adjust.
Of course, businesses would ask for more leniency towards this bill because, of course, they do have styrofoam products. And I think it's just a matter of the time they phase out the one they have, and of course, procure for a more sustainable way for other carry-out products like paper-based.
Businesses would have until 2023 to switch out plastic foam for something more biodegradable. However, Chargaloff argues that there are better ways to implement the ban.
And I think there's a more, communication line that's going to be better suited to what the vision and why this is happening. Then, I think more people would be open to the idea versus, why is this change going on?
The plastic foam ban is Guam's next step towards sustainability, and it could take months before passing the legislature. Even then, businesses like Fat Boy Slim have a year to adjust to this change. For now, Chargaloff continues to serve meals with both biodegradable and styrofoam containers. This is Rose Facello for TNT.
Thank you, Rose. Island sustainability is so important. Let's hope everyone will work together to get this right.
Moving on, as the COVID-19 lockdown restrictions loosen up, local artists and Chamorro culture advocates await the new changes that come from the digital age, as well as the reopening of Guam. TNT reporter Hazy San Jose looks into how a local artist, as well as the Guam Museum, prep for these changes.
Whether it be driving to work, school, or our homes, we often see art scaling structures by the road. Throughout the pandemic, the art has never left, but the artists behind them have had to make haste. Local artist Michelle Pierre was lucky enough to have already gotten used to working from home after closing her studio in 2019.
As you know, what was coming in the following year, 2020, it turned out that was actually a blessing in disguise, that I ended up streamlining my life to just be able to be home and do everything here from home.
Unfortunately, working from home simply isn't a solution that works for everyone. Places like the Guam Museum, which harbors thousands of artistic pieces and collections, have been operating in a different way.
Here at the Guam Museum, exhibition has been on hold since the pandemic began. Recently, plans to reopen the museum have been put into place.
Located in the heart of Hagåtña, the Guam Museum is a pillar for the history and preservation of the island's culture. Curator of the museum, Michael Bivacqua, stresses that along with the usage of art, the museum provides a portrayal of the world around us.
Museums are reflection points. And so it's important that even when the island shuts down, when there's lockdown, the museum can still offer that help to reflect on the past and the present and the future.
The museum's permanent exhibit and the rotating exhibit were at the biggest loss. They're often composed of content from nonprofit organizations, community groups, and other contributors. By June, a new exhibition, which will be focused on Guam's history since Magellan's arrival, is their next step back into normalcy after a year-long pause.
This year, it's now under public sort of management again.
In the meantime, sharing content online continues to keep art and history alive. Longtime batik artist Dr. Judy Flores says that the arts being shared through online mediums are positive influences for many during these times.
I know there were several Chamorro artists who went online and sang and played their music for free just to keep people connected and comforted. And I think it was a great comfort to a lot of people.
Throughout the pandemic, Flores, like many others, transitioned to social media. As of February, the number of social media users in Guam increased by 10,000 between 2020 and 2021. With the rate at which technology is evolving, Pierre believes that art will continue to move in that direction.
It's all in our hands. You know, we're the ones creating it. We create the supply and demand. So I guess just to be open-minded and be, I guess, excited for what might come in the future. We don't know what might be the new thing in 10 years. So just being ready for that. But I believe it's in the digital world will be the biggest expansion in the art industry over the next 20 years. Yeah.
Ultimately, whether it be an individual artist or a larger organization, both parties continue to adapt and move forward despite times of uncertainty. I am Hasey San Jose for TNT.
Thank you, Hasey. Although this pandemic has been happening for over a year, perhaps there are some positives and unique changes to be observed.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I am Sean Wago.
And I'm Rose Facello. And we'll see you again in the next season of Triton News TV.